Horatio Nelson is one of those stories I really love. Just because when you talk about a beautiful life, this is someone, British sea captain, is the one who defeats Napoleon's navy and is like the greatest seaman of all time, the greatest captain, greatest admiral of all time, and dies at like the pinnacle of his glory. Um, this is the Battle of Trafalgar, and Nelson had been obsessed with this painting of General Wolfe, this is British general, and General Wolfe similarly like has this great victory over the French in Canada and gets shot and dies at the moment of his triumph, and this painting becomes very famous. And he becomes obsessed with it, and he talks to the painter and says, "I hope you'll do a similar painting of me someday," which is a very odd request, right? Like, this is saying, I want to die in battle. And then there's this battle, this big showdown, Battle of Trafalgar, which is like the British finally have caught the entire French navy. And he tells his admirals, or his captains, and he's in charge of the whole fleet, it is annihilation that England expects, and is annihilation that England shall have. He comes up with this very bold theory of like, we're going to charge straight into the fleet, encircle them at great danger to ourselves, and blow up the entire French fleet. And his captains, this plan is so beautiful, they start weeping, and one of them comes up to him after he hears the plan and says, he's going back to his boat to command his boat, and he says, "Good luck, Admiral Nelson. I expect at the end of the day, I shall see you, with a great victory and in charge of 20 prizes." And he looks at him and he says, "Goodbye, Blackwood. I'll never see you again." Because he knows this is his moment, right? And so because of his strategy, which is charging straight at him, there's hardly any wind. They're just going 3 miles an hour, and they're just exposed to the French broadside for like a half hour. And he stands on his quarterdeck, like on the highest part of the front ship, wearing all of his medals. The French say that you can literally see him sparkling in the sun. Like, you can't miss him, right? And for just an hour, he's just getting shot at. And then finally, at the pinnacle of the battle, he gets shot through the chest, goes in, lodges in his spine, and kills him. But it's like exactly what he wanted. It's the death that he wanted, right? And so his story isn't as well known because he didn't found an empire of his own. But to me, it's like a great example of living a beautiful life. And he got the painting, like he got what he wanted out of life.
That's so, I have goosebumps listening to that story. That's like a movie scene. It's like they didn't have movies back then, but he must have had a movie in his head where it's like, yeah, I'm going to be standing there like this with all the medals. I love this. I think there's something so primal about this too for us men. Like, have you heard of the meme that was going around where all these girlfriends were asking their boyfriends like, hey, like, do you also think about the Roman Empire? And the boyfriend is always like, yeah, like, I like probably like once a week. I don't know why. Like, and I did that too. And she believed it. And she was like, really? Because she saw the trend.
Uh-huh.
So funny. But yeah, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Well, so I have a cop out, right? Which is every day, but it's kind of my job to think about the Roman Empire every day.
Yeah. What about you, Ivan?
Every 2 days.
Every 2 days, right? It's just, is it when you go to the bathroom, or is it in late?
Right before I go to sleep.
Great.
Yeah. What would Alexander the Great do right now? That's usually what I think.